All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the April 11th meeting of the McKinney Amateur Radio Club, Inc. For those that have not checked in yet, you can do so via the self-check-in link on the notification, on the reminder email you received. You'll be prompted for a code. The code is Echo 4. So please do check in because we need that for tracking attendance, so we can validate quorums and the results of all the votes and everything. Also, as we get closer to the break, just be ready if you haven't already bought 50/50 tickets. Sid is up here selling 50/50 tickets. They are a good thing to have because if you win, you get 50% of the pot. All right, we already did this check-in code. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. All stand, hats off, all the fun stuff. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll start out with our normal welcome. Do we have any guests? Any guests in the room tonight?
I'm Ralph, KI5NUK. I'm in the shirt of the Grayson County Club and just thought I'd come down and say howdy and see how you ran your club meeting.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ralph. By the way, for those online, his name was Ralph, KI5NUK. I got that right? Hey, my short-term memory still works. Any other visitors tonight? Anybody with new call signs? Anybody who is upgraded since the last meeting? Any new licensees? Gosh, we're a boring crowd tonight. Well, congratulations to everybody that isn't one of those. Alan sent us the VE team report. I hope I got this right, but basically there were 2 examinees this past month. One passed the tech. Was it a different one that passed general or the same one? Different one. So 2 people came, 2 people passed something. Always a good thing. Okay, we do have one new member application this month. We have a David Setzer, K5 November. Is David here? Nope, his application came in a couple of weeks ago. He's interested in doing some things and not others, like, he doesn't want to be a net control operator, but he is willing to help out with work around the club. So could I have a motion to approve? Okay, got a motion from Cliff Harden, second from Lance. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, he's a new member. All right, I'm going to turn this over to our field day chairman now. Come on up, Mike.
Ooh, it's almost here. Try around the corner.
Yeah, 2.5 months.
Right. Be here before we know it. Anybody else excited besides me? All right. Sid, Dave, and I went up to Irwin Park 2 weekends ago. Looked at the different pavilions. 2 were available to us. Due to my being slow this year, we missed out on Hilltop Pavilion. So our other 2 choices were the first pavilion that you come to before you go up the hill, which is called Pecan Grove Pavilion. Yeah, it's not a bad spot. It's got electricity. There's a restroom nearby. We don't know what the RFI on the electricity there. The lights come on automatically, go off automatically. But we chose the Outback Pavilion, which is just exactly that, the pavilion in the back. Well, where'd my picture go? Oh, well. There's room for 3 antennas up there. That one. There we go. Well, I missed it again. Okay, this is quicker than that. plenty of room to put 3 towers up. Now, last few years that I've been involved, we've only had 2 towers up. The third tower is going to be for 10 meters and 6 meters, since 10 meters is awesome right now. When we were up there working, Sid and I set up, I built just a simple wired dipole 10-meter antenna, put it up on my mast, and hit the expedition on New Island, Niue Island. Yeah, it was just amazing. It was the only contact I made that day because it was busy that weekend, but I hit them from right there. So if we can hit that on a busy weekend, just think what we can do with some good towers and radios during field day. So it's got some advantages. There's room for the 3 antennas, and 6 meters and 10 meters. I've never been on 6 meters, so I'm looking forward to that. And 10 meters has been awesome. Hopefully, I understand 6 is that magic band. When it's open, it's really good. When it's not, it's just not. Is that your experience? Yeah. Cool. Yep. Yeah. So we'll find out. And it may be off for field day and come on 2 minutes after field day's over, but we'll find out. A little higher elevation, Pecan Grove. Pecan Grove sits a little lower. A lot of trees around there, which would have made it difficult, not impossible, but difficult to put up the towers. And just not quite as much room. A little better parking area than Pecan Grove. Down at Pecan Grove, the busy road runs right there, and you have to park across the street. So it's a little less crowded area, which is good and bad. Yes, we want to expose the general public to our hobby, which Pecan Grove would certainly do, but there's a lot of folks down there, a lot of kids, a lot of families and stuff that just could get into tangled up. So it's not that we're trying to hide back there, but just maybe thinking about a little safety. And restrooms are at the Hilltop Pavilion. It's just up the road from where we're going to be. So there's not a restroom right there, but it's just up the road. So what are we looking for needs? Setup and takedown crew. Anybody's back hurt looking at that picture? Yeah, mine does, but it's all good. And Dave would love to have somebody shadow him and learn how to be the safety officer this year. He's done it for many, many years. He's the guy that, one, helps us get them towers up, lets us know what to do, but make sure we're doing it safely, not only during taking the towers, putting them up, taking them down, but for the whole weekend, making sure we're handling the generator right, everything else is right, no trip hazards, that kind of thing. So if anybody's up to that, please let me know. Get to Shadow Dave, and there's a checklist you got to fill out. It's pretty simple, but I think it's a 50-point deal for having a safety officer, maybe 100 points. It's not a contest, I know, but it's still points. So, yep, it's 100. Yeah, good. So that helps, and it helps us. I've been here 2019, pre the human malware virus for field day, and I'm not aware of any injuries that we've had, unless I missed something, other than maybe a minor boo-boo. We need loggers and operators. We got to get on here. My goal this year, and I'm going to have a list of goals next month, but one goal is to have at least one of the 3 transmitters going at all times. I'd like to have 2 or 3 of them going at all times, but at least one of the 3 going at all times. I put LiPo batteries up there, and I challenged Andy, inspired me last year. He ran on battery and solar power for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, somewhere in there. Yeah, made like 80, 90 contacts. I'd like to try that again this year and run as long as we can using battery and solar power. I've got a 15 amp Bio-NO and a solar panel. If you've got a battery, we could hook up to it and just try to keep one of those going on for a long time. It gives us more points too. So, and Bob's not going to be able to join us this year. Bob and Tessa are going on vacation that weekend. Poor planning, if you ask me, but well deserved for them. Well deserved. So we're going to need somebody to operate the GOTA station, to get on the air station for folks that haven't been on the air, may be interested. Great one for youth. And the rules are a little bit different this year for the GOTA station. Last year, you had to have 20 contacts on GOTA from one person to get 100 points, and 19 didn't count. So this year, every contact counts. So it's a great rule change for that. There's a couple other rule changes that are weird. We'll go over all those next meeting, but that's going to be a great one. So we need somebody for that, and it's not quite as shady up there, so we'll need a few extra pop-up canopies, especially for the GOTA station or any other places that we have around. Because there's the pavilion and not much else right there. So, but how hot could it be the last weekend in June in Texas, right? Yeah. It'll be just like tonight, right? This would be perfect weather for that. All right, anybody hungry? Because Lance is ready to get us going. There he is. He's getting things ready up there. Last year we noticed that y'all were hungry after setup, so we've decided to do the big big meal together after setup. And Lance is ready to start cooking. He's ready. If you've got suggestions, we did burgers, hot dogs last year. I think there were some brats in there. Brisket too, yeah. So if there's something that you want Lance to cook, let him know. And then he is going to provide and have food available to where all night long, if you're hungry, there'll be something to eat. If you've got a special request for that, also let him know. I'm thinking a few gallons of Bluebell ice cream would be great. But again, that would be a challenge for Lance to keep that cold and not runny. But yeah, besides, sandwich fixings, like that. Now he had a lot of stuff last year, a lot, and y'all were very generous also bringing stuff. We had a lot of stuff left over too. So we kind of want to watch that too, where we got just enough or the right amount. So think about that when you're making suggestions. And then we'll have coffee all night, hopefully, because I'm going to need some. I know it's weird, hot coffee anyway. But and then a continental type breakfast for Sunday morning. Again, request for your favorite Danish or whatever like that. Let Lance know. And then water and Gatorade 24/7. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. It's going to be hot. It's going to be hot. And it's going to be hot. All right. All right, we did so well last year on our simulation exercise. I thought it'd be a good idea to have another one this year. Write this down, May 27th. May 27th. It's a Saturday. I'm thinking after the breakfast, so 9-ish in the morning. Once y'all get done wearing the waitress out down there at the Denny's and keeping her busy, we'll gather up at the Outback Pavilion. Bring your HTs, and we're going to try to operate on our MARC VHF simplex frequency and simulate calling CQ and then answering CQ for those of you that need some practice on that, kind of get used to that. Andy's going to talk about POTA here in a minute. POTA is the best way to get ready for field day because it's almost the same thing. You're either calling for somebody to answer or you're answering somebody, and then handling a pile up and working at or hunting. It's fantastic. I think one of the sayings for POTA is every day is field day. So it's a great thing. I hope I didn't steal much of your thunder, but. We'll do our simulation, go through a little stuff, get y'all going, and then I'll have my HF rig. If anybody else wants to bring something, we can set up there and see how, if 10 meters is open again to crazy places or whatever, and hunt some POTA or whatever contest is going on that weekend. There's a contest every weekend right now, and some of them have been crazy busy. So May 27th, 2023, about 9 a.m. after breakfast. And the last thing, this gentleman here is if you didn't notice on the first slide, we've got a logo. I mentioned last month there was no logo. They got a logo this year, and they're selling these beautiful blue T-shirts. And we had a suggestion, Brand made a suggestion about doing a club order on T-shirts, and got authorization since we did so well on our budget last year, that the club's going to pay shipping for a T-shirt order, and I'll be taking orders. So it's $20 each shirt. So if you're extra small to one of us big boys, it's $20 a piece. At least that's what they have on their website. They haven't opened it up to orders yet. They said mid-April, so we're getting there pretty close. But if you want that, I'll collect the money. I'll send the order in, have the club reimburse me for the shipping, and y'all pay for yours. So I'll have some order sheets in the back if y'all want to tonight with the sizes and all that stuff, or at the breakfast or the next meeting. Probably, I don't want to get in there because field day shirts sell out pretty quick, especially some sizes. So I don't know if I want to wait till the next meeting or not. But I'll put out information on the email and all that stuff and get the information to you as quick as possible, so you'll have an opportunity to order a shirt. But on the front, the logo. Tune in the world, and on the back it's blurry there, but it's a list of all the sections that you'll be contacting on field day, including the Canadian ones. Anybody got questions on field day? Yes, sir.
So you stay there all night.
Yep. Somebody will be there all night.
Okay.
Hopefully you'll be with us.
I might be there. I'm just trying to figure out if I can bring a sleeping bag or
Hey, You can do, there's room if you want to put a tent up. I put a tent up last year and had a cot and took a nap.
And I think they allow camping up there.
They do, yeah. Since we've reserved the pavilion and paid for it, we get to camp right there too. We can set up tents at the pavilion. There are campsites around. Other people would be camping. Yes, sir? They do not allow RVs. You're correct, yeah. No RVs, no trailers. So it has to be tent camping.
3 tents. That I
Cool.
can bring,
Okay.
and one will fit 5, 6 people.
Wow. Cool. Good deal. Yeah, really. So, now, I know a couple of people last year kind of snuck off and cranked their car up and sat in the air conditioning for a few hours. I wasn't going to say who it was, but he sure spent a lot of time, and I don't blame him either. I don't blame him. So, but yeah, I bet. Nice and comfy. All right, any other questions, any other suggestions, comments, please? This is our field day, not my field day. So want to have fun and get out there and have a successful field day. We had a great one last year. The propagation didn't help much, but we had a great field day together. Hopefully the propagation will be better this year. I'm gonna have some goals, and one of those goals is gonna make more contacts than we did last year. Of course, it's not a contest, I know, but then a couple other goals. And if you think of a goal that you want for field day, let me know, and we'll try to include that in. All right, thank you.
All right, so our presenter tonight is Andy Barnes, W5KZJ. He is our local expert on Parks on the Air. We are really looking forward to seeing this. Thanks, Andy.
Well, I was walking through, and after I finished dinner tonight, I went through and was shaking hands, which I normally do. I try to work the crowd, and I run into James over here, and he puts me to shame in POTA. I'm not worthy to do this. He should be the one up here doing it, but here we go. We'll do it anyway, right? Go ahead, next slide, Sean. The slides that I used tonight, I modified them, but I'd like to thank Julianne K8VOX. She actually originally put this presentation together several years ago, and I have borrowed her slides, added some of my own, took some of hers out, but anyway, she is the one that I want to give her credit for it. Go ahead. Yeah, Parks on the Air is a 501c3, and I'm not going to read all the information up there. That's one of the things that I try not to do when I'm doing these presentations, because you guys can all read out there as well. And a lot of times I feel like I've wasted my time because I can read it if all he does is just reads. So, but I will say that it is a 501c3 organization, so they do, you can donate donations to help offset some of the costs that they have. It's all set up by volunteers, and they're all doing it. And if you've ever looked at their website, James will you're probably more computer savvy than I am. He can tell you that they have a class 1 website. And there's several. I know there's a couple other. I see some of the other guys shaking their head yes with that. POTA is made up of activators, which are the guys that go out and activate the parks. They set up portable called CQ. Then they have chasers, and without the chasers, POTA wouldn't be anything, because we wouldn't have anybody to talk to except somebody else in a park. And we do a lot of that, but without the chasers, you wouldn't have it. And your job as a chaser is really easy. All you got to do is make the contacts. Once you make the contact, once the activator turns in his log, you will get credit for it. Okay. I guess really the important part about this is it goes into how POTA got started. It's a spin-off from the National Parks on the Air from back in 2016. And they currently are about 12,000 registered users with about 10,000 active. And these numbers are about 6 months old. So that, they're adding people every day. I wouldn't be at all surprised if that's not approaching 15,000 or more. Okay. Creating an account for POTA is fast and easy. You can, they don't have I'm not sure what this AWS Cognito, I just know I use it because that's how they do it, but that's how they do their deal. They don't store any passwords. You go to Parks on the Air. I've got mine set up with my Google account, so when I go to sign in, I just click on my Google and off you go. And I use it on my phone and my tablet a lot. Okay. To get started, you'll go to parksontheair.com. Where it says help and get started, there's a lot of information there with the rules and how to get started. You can get signed up and off you go. Okay. I wished I had a better way to do this. Here, I'll just do it this way. Of course, I was talking about the frequently asked questions and that type of stuff there. You also, Matt, N3 NWV has a great set of YouTube videos that have a lot of instruction on them. Okay. There are 11,000 or approximately 11,000 locations internationally. Again, these numbers are dated. I know they have done a lot of adding to some of them. There's been a lot of DX entities that have been added. I worked a park in Poland the other day. A park to park. I was in a park and he was in a park, and he worked me on 15 meters. So it was one of those that came up. All right. These are parks in our area. To the north is up to the north of the Red River. To the west is Abilene. To the east is east of Sherman. And to the south is south of Waco. So that would kind of give you an idea of what's in our area right here. Okay. Okay, and I am behind. There we go. Okay, for logging software, or what you need for POTA is, and I'm going to go ahead and go through this, of course, is your license, radio, antenna, some type of portable power. I use a 35 ampere Baleno. There's some others that use some smaller batteries, but they also use lower power. I generally run at about 90 watts when I go out and run, whereas I know there's a lot of guys go out there and run a whole lot more power. What do you normally run, James, when you're out?
I'll run QR3 on my bike, which I had here last year. I run 5 watts on the bike.
Okay.
I'm riding in the park.
Okay.
But 5 watts, and normally around 50 watts. I'm using the 891.
Okay.
That's about it.
What do you use for your normal antenna when you're out? Is for when you say you set up at a picnic table, like you were down at Fairfield?
Yeah, I have several different antennas. Like 20 meters, you can put up a simple quarter wave antenna on top, which is fairly short. It's not too bad. I think it's 17 foot tall.
Okay. All right.
And I use that a lot. And I run from the car sometimes, depending if it's real cold outside. I might sit in the car. But then I'll get out and ride on the bike a lot.
Yeah.
I do that.
All right. Well, it's, yeah. Well, I'm guilty of the same thing, sitting in the car if it's cold outside. In fact, I was up in Illinois and Indiana last year for field day and did some POTA activations before the week before winter field day. And I've got some slides in here I'll show you in a little bit, and I'll share this story when I get there. I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, what you'll also need a logger where you can export an ADFI file. I use the N3 FJP, or the amateur contact log, or they call it AC log. There is in the file section of Facebook for POTA, there is a file set up by Robert Rapla. His call sign was W3RAR, and he is now a silent key. Where he set up that program for friendly use for the for Parks on the Air. And I've got a picture of my log sheet coming up. In fact, go ahead and flip it, Sean. That's what it looks like, basically. Should have had the white background instead of the dark background. But at the top, what I've got is, of course, the call, the time, you need the meter. They don't care what frequency you're on. They just want to know what band you're on is really the only information you need there. And if you work a park to park, they want their park, or it's their SIG info. And that will be embedded in there. All right. And how do you activate? Of course, you go get set up in a park. If it's a trail, you got to be, I think, within 100 feet of it, so that all your antenna, your radio, and power source has to be inside the park or within 100 foot of the trail, if it's a trail, and make 10 contacts in a UTC day. And a UTC day is, right now for us, is 1900 or 7 o'clock in the evening till 16:59 or 6:59 in the evening. The following day is the UTC day, is how it falls. You'll need to, you got to use the simplex mode. You can't use terrestrial repeaters like we've got here, but you can use a repeater on a satellite if you happen to be out doing that. You make your QSOs. Of course, you have to export them out in the ADFI logger. And then submit them through the POTA application, which is a whole lot easier now than what it used to be. We used to have to email them off and wait for them to do it. Now you just upload your own files, and it's a simple process. And a good file name, you have to, of course, have your call sign. You have at the park. And 4423 actually is Spring Creek Forest, right in here off of Holford Road, and we'll have some pictures of that later in the presentation with the date, and then of course the ADFI, and then submit your log into the POTA app. All right. This is what the spotting page looks like, or if you're on the POTA app, this is just a list of where they're at, the frequency they're on, and the parks that they are in. Then the rest of the information is, where it's located. Then the next set of information is the person that spotted them. So you can spot people on the POTA activation. Right now, if I use a 7300, and I have it set up so that it's, I just push a button and call my CQ as opposed to actually holding the mic and doing it. And I will ask if the frequency is in use. If I get a clear frequency, I will push the button before I start spotting my stuff. And a lot of times, I will get calls before I ever get that spot made, and somebody else will spot me, and I've never done it myself. All right. This is what you would, how to call CQ. And it's recommended, it's however you want to do it. I do mine a little different. You'll hear CQ parks on the air, you'll hear CQ POTA. I generally just call CQ several times, throw my call sign, parks on the air station, and standing by. Type of deal. You really don't have to call and identify yourself as a parks on the air person if you don't want for it to be legal. All you have to do is call CQ, but that's how you would normally do it. Do you use the RBN spotter, James? Do you use the RBN spotter?
Yes, I do.
You do? Okay. They do that. It's a CW beacon. If you CQ POTA, throw your call sign in a couple of times, then the RC beacon will actually automatically spot you. And this is what, if you were spotting someone, this was basically what it would look like. I was at Spring Creek Forest and was getting ready to spot myself there when I took that screenshot. Why would you enjoy POTA? Well, the bottom line right there says it all. You become the DX. Or it's like somebody said earlier today, every day is like field day. I mean, it's nuts. A lot of times, it's not uncommon to work 120 stations in 100 minutes or more. It's very easily, if you're clicking them off, you can click them off pretty quick. You don't have to run it that way. You want to stop and visit a minute? I've got a guy that I met on the air through POTA. He and his wife live in southern Arizona. Their kids live in Austin. He found out we lived here in Dallas. He says, we're going to be in Austin. About 2 weeks later, he shows up in Royce City and calls me and says, hey, we're in the hotel in Royce City. Let's go have supper. So, and they've come up a couple of times when they've come over to see their kids just to visit, and it's because we met each other on the air. Okay. Other reasons people want to run POTA, all modes are welcome. The POTA stat page and the maps understand continuous develop. I guess one of the big things I would say for me that I enjoy, and I'm not going to read this, is it has made me a better operator. It has made me where I know how to work a pile up. And you're the one, the one thing you have to remember, and you're the one in control of the frequency, and you learn how to do it, and it makes you a better operator where you can pick it out, and you have practice. I can sit down now at a field day and not be overwhelmed because I've been there. Okay. Huh? Yeah.
I was just going to add that, sometimes conditions change. So if you get a pile up and you have 20 feet away a contact, you're going to go a lot faster because you want to give them an opportunity to get your car.
Exactly.
But when it's kind of slowing down, you might do so for somebody for 2 or 3 minutes, and they'll tell you about their weather, where they're at, and you're telling them about the weather and the operating conditions. So it's very dynamic. It can change.
Right.
There's not really a set way to do it.
Exactly. But this guy that I was telling you about in Arizona, it doesn't matter how busy I am, I stop and ask him about his wife. Okay, Sean. There are many awards. They pile up quickly. I think that was the thing. I don't know how Larry found it, but he found my POTA page and saw the awards that I have stacked up. And he says, wow. And of course, I'm one of the low guys. I am, I don't have, there's a big long page of them. They're easy to get, but there are some that I'm more proud of than others. But he said, man, you got all these awards. We'd love to have you do a POTA presentation. Okay, Sean. There are also, these are some other awards you have, like the repeat offender. If you operate a park, make 10 contacts and operate it 20 times, make 10 contacts each time you operate it, then you get what they call the Oasis. I've got 64 activations at Spring Creek Forest down on Horford Road, and that's because it's 20 minutes from the house. I've got 40 up in Bonham, where I've had enough that I've got the dual up there. I know James has several repeat offenders. There's also some quick activation awards where you go up and work 5 parks in a UTC day and log them off, and there's rules with it where they have to be, depending on how you're traveling to them, how far apart they are, and that type of stuff. You get out of Texas, we have to drive to the parks here, but you get out of Texas and the next park may be as far as that wall over yonder, over the other end of the restaurant. I mean, it's crazy. I worked 2 parks at one time while I was in North Carolina over the last fall. And it was just one of those, just because 2 parks were right there together. I was in the Great Smoky Mountains and then the Appalachian Trail, worked them at the same, and the same contacts worked for both parks. Okay. And this award is probably my prize award. And the reason that I feel that way is because this award is from one of our fellow operators. The way I actually operated, he nominated me for this award, and then I was given to it. It was actually from a deal that's later on in the presentation, but like I said, that's my prize award. When one of your peers nominates you for an award, that's kind of something else. Go ahead, Sean. Okay, then how does the hunting work? We'll look at the spotting page we had that I showed you earlier today, this evening. Tune in the frequency, hear him calling, answer him, and make the contact. Once you, and you can also spot them. That second page that I showed you, I'm not going to go back, but out at the end, there's either spot where it either says spot, or if you have it set up where it was lined the way I have mine set up, you can tap the deal and it'll come up with that screen. Spot them with your call sign and that type of stuff, and then that way they keep getting spotted up there so that they have it. Of course, as a hunter, like I said earlier, there's no log necessary. And, just keep checking the dashboards. Go ahead. Tips for hunters. Of course, check. There is also a scheduling page on there. I didn't make a deal of it. Basically looks like the spotting page, but it's out there telling you, okay, I am planning on going to Eisenhower, which is 3005, and I'm going to be there tomorrow around, say, 1500, which is going to be about 10 o'clock in the morning till, 8 o'clock, or, 2000, I guess it'd be 2000. How would you say that? Anyway, which would be about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and tell them I'm going to work 15 and 20 meters. And then that way they'll know to look for you. You can watch that POTA spot page that we looked at earlier. There is also Slack you can sign up for. And use it, and basically what it does is it will show the message on your phone. Are you still using Slack, Mike? Are you?
I use it for flying, but I look at the conversation.
Okay.
There's sometimes the spots are just going like this.
Yeah. Well, I used to have the spots going, and I actually had to turn it off on my phone, because I'd take it off to charge at 7 o'clock in the morning, and by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, my battery is dead, because it's constantly, bringing my phone up. Because every time somebody would put a spot on there, and when you figure there's, 10,000 people out there and every one of them spotting, it keeps going. All right. Why would you enjoy hunting? Well, number one, it helps make somebody else reach a goal that they're waiting for. They're trying to get the 10 contacts, get the activation, or continue to go. There's all kinds of reasons. I've got an HF rig in my car, and I had a PT appointment this morning, and at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock when I came out of that, there were 10 guys on 20 meters calling CQ. I worked 9 of the 10 just to help the guys out before I ever left the parking lot. Okay. And then, of course, there are awards for the hunters. If you work a park 20 times or 20 unique parks, which is not hard to do when there's that many people out there doing it, but it continues to add up. There's also, you can get an award where if you work every entity in the state. I have not gotten one of those awards yet. There are some folks out there that have. There's also, just this past year, a couple of guys within a month of one another has activated all 50 states. They've gone to all 50 states, including Alaska and Hawaii. Okay. Challenges, of course, the terrestrial solar weather can be a challenge. Gear failure, local QRM, a lot of interference. Difficulty with staff. They put that up there. I have never run into any real difficulty with any of the staff here. What I did run into, I was at Vicksburg, at the National Battlegrounds in Vicksburg, and was set up operating from the car using the ATOS antenna. And I operated for 2 days, and on the second day I was there, of course, I had been sitting there and I'd seen this same officer there the day before. The second day when I was there, he pulled up, and he finally came up and tapped on the window. Because, it was hot in Mississippi, and I said, I've got to run the battery for the car anyway, so I'm going to run the air conditioner too. He goes, what are you doing? Told him. He goes, he looked, he asked me to get out of the car, and I'm polite. The guy's wanting to, he was really friendly about it. He says, well, I guess you're okay. He says, your antenna is on your car. You have to have a permit in the Vicksburg National Battlegrounds to erect an antenna. They had run a guy out of there the weekend. He told me, he said, we run a guy out of here the weekend before because the antenna, he had put up a Wolf River coil, which had no stakes in the ground, just the antenna sitting there, but because he didn't have a permit to put up the antenna, he says, they ran him out. But because my antenna was mounted to my car, I guess you're okay. So I says, for future notice, Who do I call to get that permit from in case I decide to come back? I don't know. You'll have to call my supervisor. So, you just know, you never know what you're going to run into.
Just POTA post that information on their sites about parks.
Well, they don't know. If you go to the park, it's up to you to know the rules of the park. Okay? But in my experience, everybody that I've ever talked, everyone that's ever talked to, they have been more interested in what I'm doing and amazed at the number, because I do my logging with a computer when I'm out in the field. So I've got that log setting there. And they're amazed that, you start telling them, well, hey, I talked to Poland from here, or I talked to Argentina, or I'm talking all over the East Coast and the West Coast. They're pretty amazed. Okay. Pro tips. Safety, safety, safety. One of the things that I have just recently purchased, one of the antennas, in fact, several of the antennas that I use have ground radials on them, where they're just laying on the ground. They're a trip hazard. I found some soccer field cones for like the kids there, and there was like 20 of them for $12, something like that. They're bright orange, and I set them on, just mark them so that people see it. I've got a neon green paracord that I use to hang wire antennas in the tree and that type of stuff. And I had one, and I had it strung way out over a field and had it in a stake. And yeah, it did go down below head level as it was going down. But I'm telling you, neon green, the end of the antenna was higher than I could reach. But this neon green, and there's a woman, I'm sitting there working, I'm up here at Eisenhower's birthplace, or I guess up this way. And this woman's walking across the field, okay? Walk right into that lime green cord. I just couldn't believe it. It's all right. I guess on that one is be flexible. That's the best advice from that previous slide, is to be flexible. Additional items for portable operations: bug repellent, insect-proof clothing. One of the things that I carry is I keep a can of sulfur powder that you can get it at the drugstore or the farm store, put it in a sock, and I carry it in a coffee can with a lid on it in the back of my car. And every time I stop, I tap that sulfur powder around my boots, around where my pants are, so that I don't get chiggers. Because I have been eat up with chiggers. First aid, portable shade. I've never found the need to take the portable shade. I can generally find a shade tree to get under. And water, as Mike was saying, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Be sure and take water and snacks. Okay. Tim, K-A-T-I-A-M, how would you like that for your office every day? Okay. And Brian was up in Cherokee Landing in Oklahoma, and there he's working out of his car. All right. This is the one here I was telling you about. I used to say these guys were nuts or brave, or I'm not sure what they are, to be honest with you. But since I was at Winter Field Day in Indiana and Illinois, not this past year, in 2022, I actually activated several parks in southern Indiana and southern Illinois while there was snow on the ground. So I get that. But I was like these guys. I was operating with antennas in my car. I didn't have the car door open. It was closed with the heater running. You know, anytime I'm operating from the car's running because I don't want to turn the switch and have click, click, click. Okay. And then just a couple more pictures there. This is Richard and Dixie in Georgia. Then you never know what you're going to come across here when you have what you're going to see or what you're going to visit. All right. And here's yours truly. I was in the Great Smoky Mountains at Cades Cove. Cades Cove is known for bears. And I'm sitting down at the bottom of the hill. It's down in a valley, and there's a stream or a river just to the other side of where I'm sitting there. And it was a struggle to get the 10 contacts because I had mountains all around me. But the interesting one was two sheepish ladies walked up to Lisa and says, "Is he tracking bears?" and she said no, and went into what it was. And of course mine was, "You should have said, you know, yeah, and there's one right over there," right? Okay. All right, go ahead and play. You know, and you never know what you're going to come up with or come across as you do this. And so this is a quick video that I want to share. Go ahead. Is this frequency in use? Is this frequency in use? Whiskey.
Andy Barnes could have chosen anywhere to be at the end of the line.
Copy the 5.9 into Southern Ohio. I've got a 5.9 copy on you in Central Texas.
But this ham radio operator chose
Ooh, that was a fish.
where Dennis Walsh decided to fish,
Come get it.
where many others came Monday.
That's why they call it fishing instead of catching. This is the first time I've been to this park.
90 miles south of Dallas. Fairfield Lake State Park.
This is what soothes the soul. This is therapy for folks.
This is what brings a former park manager back.
It wasn't a job, it was a lifestyle. It's my baby.
This is a place that so many people have forged lifelong memories.
I kind of don't want it to close. Sad.
Today
It's really sad.
is its last day.
You're going to be one of the last contacts at Fairfield State Park.
The state park is closing. A nearly 50-year state land lease has ended.
It's just, it's sad.
Hopefully something will happen and it won't.
A debate in town over its future has not.
We're losing the treasure, we're losing the state treasure.
The state's bid to buy it failed. Texas Parks and Wildlife tells us a private developer named Todd Interest from Dallas bought it with the idea of high-end homes.
Private development, whatever. We need to save the state park, period.
The project could bring tax revenue and jobs to the county,
Thank you. We appreciate you coming to Fairfield.
but there are shop owners here who rely on lake traffic. Lawmakers have floated the idea of eminent domain.
It's a touchy subject.
Texas doesn't have the land, and now they're losing this big piece of it.
People have pitched petitions to save the park.
Feel that tug on the end of the line.
Dennis may not catch anything, but the park has given him enough.
Copy the 5.5 into Washington, D.C., New Jersey, Idaho, Tennessee.
It's given something to all of them.
Grab it while you can because it's going to be no more.
We've tried to connect with the Dallas developer multiple times. The worry for many is that it's a done deal.
This place is going to be very quiet when we close the doors.
The lake, known for its fishing, its bald eagle habitat, will be known for something else.
We need more nature than we need, like, houses.
All right, Kilo 4, Lima.
On Monday, a lot of people are feeling
That was a hit.
the tug at the end of that line.
I just don't like it.
They're sad. They're upset.
And this will be the last activation out here.
In Fairfield,
We appreciate you being there and thanks for picking us up.
I'm Jobin Puniker.
Now, the interesting thing about that, you know, the last end was that this will be the last activation. As I'm breaking down and getting ready to go home, who shows up? James does. Yeah, that's right.
There until they kicked me out.
Oh, were you?
They were closing the park for good.
Yeah.
So I stayed until the very last.
Well, And then what's interesting about that is Fairfield is now open for day use. So the developer that bought it, I'm assuming, has decided to allowing the state to use it for day use purposes only right now. Who knows what's going to happen down the road? You know, the state may get it. All right, go ahead. This is just kind of an example of what a map might look like after a contact. Ron Worthington did this up in, or Wetherington did this up in Bonham back in February of 20. So that's been 3 years ago, made 167 contacts in 2 hours. Okay. And that's doable. Now think about if you're some of the hams that have been around a while know what the band conditions were like in 20, you know, three years ago. So, you know, it's doable. Okay. And this was April the 23rd of 2022. And we did a club activation down at Spring Creek Forest, and you can see part of the group that was there. Okay. Okay. As I've mentioned earlier, that it's in social media. I told you what I've done about Slack, where I've actually turned it off. There is a very active face group. That a POTA face group page that has, you see a lot of pictures, you see a lot of people sharing a lot of frustrations as well as successes. It's a pretty friendly group. They're back and forth. One of the interesting posts that I saw the other day that I kind of laughed about was I joined the group that left my damn battery at the house today. Okay. So, and what he ended up doing is he ran jumpers over to his car battery and just kept on operating. Okay. And of course, we got the information here. Are there any questions? Sure.
What's your furthest contact?
Furthest contact? Well, I've made a Russian contact. I've made a German contact. I've made several across the pond. I've had Argentina. I've had some stuff down in South America. And that doesn't happen every day, but that does happen, on a, just kind of depend on the bands, especially since 10 and 15 have opened up. The DX has really picked up.
So is English the language that this is
Most everybody speaks some type of broken English. Yes, it may be difficult to understand with their accent, but if they want that contact. They want that contact, so they will wear you out till you get it right. Okay. Thanks, guys.
All right, so Mark does have a number of nets. We have our Sunday night information net. Please make sure you check in and just say hi to your friends. Simplex net every Monday night. We do breakfast at Denny's every Saturday morning. The official notification says 7:30, but everybody kind of gathers around 7 o'clock. We sit and drink coffee, and then Laura comes around and takes everybody's order somewhere around 7:30-ish. Look for a motion to adjourn. I see hands everywhere. Andy was first. Andy. Second was Mike Blue. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, we're adjourned. Thanks, everybody. See you next month.